Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I'm going to do a quick intro and you'll see this same exact look in my buys and buys, which I filmed right before this. But this is the video where I am depotting my last two Natasha Denona Mini Palettes. So Mini Love and Mini My Dream. Obviously you guys can see that they have already been depotted because I filmed the actual depotting earlier today. So without a whole lot of rambling, because I'll come in here and I'll do an outro kind of re-summarizing my thoughts on the process of depotting these, but let's go ahead and get into the overhead shots of me depotting these Natasha Denona mini palettes. All right, so I have all of my tools here. I'm filming overhead and also on my camera so I can put in different shots of what I'm doing. But I am going to be depotting my two other mini Natasha Denona palettes. So I had posted on my Instagram that I depotted, what was it? Zendo, Retro, and Gold. And so now I have Mini Love and Mini My Dream. So the Mini My Dream is practically brand new. I've used it once, and then of course I bought the Mini Love when it first released, and this one you cannot get anymore. So cautionary tale, and I don't know what kind of intro and outro I'm going to do for this video, but the packaging on your mini palettes will be destroyed. There's no going back. Once you depot them, that's it. So, and you guys can see from how my shadows look, they look pretty good because I am decent at repressing, but your matte shadows, you are going to have some casualties, and maybe I'll show under the other camera here. You will have some casualties with your matte shadows, but again, if you are decent at repressing and you go slow enough with this, your shades will be okay. This depotting is not for the faint of heart. I think that is why you don't see many depotting videos out there for these palettes. So if you do not have all of these tools, if you do not feel 100% confident with repressing powder shadows and powder products, do not depot your items. I'll say that. This is something that I decided to do, and I came up with a decent way of doing it. But in no way, shape, or form am I encouraging anybody to do this, because your packaging is destroyed and your matte shadows will probably need to be repressed. So that is my cautionary tale. I'm not encouraging anybody to do this. This is just for informational purposes, and because a couple of you guys asked me to film when I did the rest of my depotting. So my tools that I have a little pair of scissors because I did print out on a label maker. I have basically the shadows 1 through 5 for both of the palettes. I have my two palettes. I have a little like spatula tool. I have some alcohol pads to clean my tools. But the main thing is this. This is a dental tool set. And this comes in very, very handy to get in between the very small space between the plastic and your pan. And so these tools came in handy, and you'll see that mine are bent up because these are extremely hard to depot. And so apart from the tools, I have my heat gun. I do have my rubbing alcohol and my tissues because this is what I use for repressing. Off to the very side, I also have my griddle. Something that I tried doing it last time is I did drill holes in the back of my Love palette. When I depotted the first palette, I found out how deep this plastic was. I marked it on a drill bit, and then I drilled into the back of here because I thought that if I heated it up enough, I could pop it out from the back. Can't do that. So I am okay with maybe putting these on my hot plate to get the glue heated up from the bottom up rather than me heating from the top down. So that is something I have. Like I said, I have my heat plate off to the side. Oh, I do need to go get some parchment paper so that the plastic does not stick to my griddle, but I want to try a couple things first. I will say the first thing that I would recommend doing, and I want to get my little I'll get my little tweezers for this, but I'm going to use my little forceps. I'm going to use this dental tool and this dental tool. I have no idea the names of these dental tools, but this one has like a flat edge and kind of like a flat beveled edge. This has a couple pointed edges, and you can see this one here is all bent up from me trying to get in there. Then the forceps are just really, really handy to have. But what I want to do first is I'm going to take the plastic label off of the back of these palettes, just enough to cut out the names. If we look at the back of, and not drop it, but let me pop out one of my shadows here. If we look at the back of this one, and I'll try maybe holding it up to this camera, I do have the sticker. Let me see, where can you guys see? I do have the sticker with the name, and then I also have it labeled with Mini Gold 5. So I still want to keep the names of the shades, and so we will start with that. But let me sanitize my tools real quick, because I'm going to be using rubbing alcohol on kind of repressing, but I still want to make sure that my tools are decently clean. This is a clean towel. It's one of my makeup towels, but it is clean. And then we do tweezers. The scissors I'm not worried about being clean because that's just going to be used to cut labels. So I did not need that many alcohol wipes, but I'd rather have more than what I need. Let me get my trash can real quick and throw this away, then we'll get these labels off the back of these palettes. All right, I got my parchment paper, and I might have knocked the camera a little bit, but that is a hazard of being stuck in between my tripod and my desk. And then also, I have my pajamas still on, so it is a Saturday morning. So we're going to start with the Mini Love, and basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up the back of this label a little bit until I can peel up a corner, and then we're going to peel back that label. As a reminder to everybody, heat guns get extremely hot. They are not like a blow dryer. They get hot enough to melt plastic and hot enough to melt like glues and solvents and stuff. But with it heating up the back of this sticker, it easily comes off without tearing. I only need the part of the sticker that has the names on it, so I'm just going to cut off there, and I might get my other little scissors, but this sticker I'm just going to kind of like stick to the side for right now because we do not need it right this moment. But I just wanted to get it off before I destroy the rest of the palette. So I got my little eyebrow scissors, which I'll go ahead and sanitize these too while we're at it. My labels, I'm also going to stick to the side because we don't need those yet. But let's work on, I'm going to take these other two palettes and get them out of the way so that we can work on the Mini Love. So I know that I can get these off by using the heat gun. I'm curious if I can get them off by using a hot plate. So let me rearrange some things real quick and plug in my hot plate and see if I can get these to heat up from the bottom up. I don't have a very long cord on my griddle, but hopefully you guys can see that I have it sitting over here on the piece of parchment paper. Of course, this also gets very hot, so cautionary tale to everything. So it is warming up the bottom. It's wanting to kind of bow up a little bit. But let me let it sit there for a hot minute. No pun intended. What I don't know is what I'm going to use to try to push the shades out. You see, so it is melting the rest of this here, so we'll just pull that off. I'm trying to figure out a new way to do this where I'm not completely wrecking the shadows. And when you're prying the shadows out from the top, that's where you're probably going to have more cracking of those matte shadows. So we can see that it's melting the bottom. But not enough to move the shadows on top. Okay, so I feel like the griddle's not going to work. It's just going to melt this plastic and make it worse. So I'm going to put my griddle away, and we're going to go back to the regular method that I used last time of heating it from the top. Okie dokie, so the way I was able to get my other ones out is you heat the plastic enough around the shade to be able to bend back some of the plastic. That way you can get a tool between there, because there is no room between the plastic and the pan to get a tool in there. And then you heat it and carefully pry it out of there with the dental tools. So let me go ahead and I'm going to work on this first shimmer here, because shimmers typically do not break. And if they do, you can just press them back together. Let me see if I can get underneath my other camera here so we can see. But we're just going to heat. I'm going with the low setting on the heat gun. And again, this gets very, very hot. Don't get it too close to the plastic. It will do its job with melting things. So let's go ahead and let's try this out. Let's see, so I'm taking this more pointed tool here. If you are a dental hygienist and you know the names of these tools, drop them down below. But I'm able to get it into that corner, and this plastic here is very hot. You can see it's already melting and pushing the hinge up. So I just want to bend the plastic back. I'm not really moving the pan. I'm not really trying to get the pan out. I'm trying to bend the plastic. With these more metallic plastics, if it gets hot, sometimes the metallic coating on top will start to crack. And I would say stop heating at that point, because that is on the verge of being too hot. All right, the metallic was just starting to crack there. That means that it is extremely hot right now. So I can bend that plastic back, because I need to get this tool in there. This one has a more flat, tapered side. And let me move my heat gun because I need to put my arm over here for some leverage. But let me try to get this tool. So I'm pushing that plastic back so I can get my tool in there. And see, that plastic is super heated, so it's bending back. That's why I say, like, you will never get to use this palette again. We're going to heat one more time because we're heating the glue now, and then we can pop it out. That plastic starts to reform, but it is hot enough. And again, everything on this is hot. So please be careful. Oh, there goes my lid. So we're just lightly prying underneath there and getting. Now the pan is hot, like the actual makeup pan is hot. So be careful when handling, and we're just going to set that to the side to cool down so that we can remove the glue off the bottom. But let me go ahead and pull the rest. See, it's gone. This palette is not going to be usable anymore. So lid is gone. Let me go ahead and try one of the mats so that I can show you what it's like, and then I might just kind of like fast forward the rest of it. But I want to show getting one of the mats out as well. But we're going to do the same thing and superheat the plastic so that we can get that pan out. All right, let's see if the plastic is, now that the heat gun is nice and heated up, it will not take as long, but we're just bending that plastic back. And I can actually leave my tool in there so the plastic doesn't shrink back to the pan. Now I'm just heating the glue. All right, let's see if we can get underneath this pan and start very gently getting that glue worked at. All right, might have to heat the pan a little bit more. The glue on these is no joke. All right, always be careful when going back and touching your palette because it will be hot. All right, this one's coming up. Oh, no cracks, no cracks. Oh, that feels so good, but that pan is hot. Whew. Whew, super hot. So like I said, just be careful because all of this gets extremely hot. And that pan, if I hold on to it too long, that pan will burn my fingers. Oh, Mr. Washburn is worried about me because I was hollering. So let me see. Is this plastic over here soft? No. You're okay. Mama's okay. You're okay. And I do not need you messing with my tripod. I do not need you messing with the hot things. All right, on to the next matte palette. So very little heat is needed to get this plastic back. Dug my tool into it, but I'm okay with that. So we're just bending the palette. Oh, that one, the glue was not very hard on that one. That one came right out. Ooh, but that pan is super hot too. So all of these are getting heat as we go along. It's just, I need to put enough heat to melt this plastic back. And I know when to stop because the foil starts to wrinkle, and that's telling me that the plastic is soft enough for me to get my tool in there. So this may seem extremely easy, but the other palettes that I did were not this easy. So this is almost feels like it's too easy and it seems like it's going really well, but the other ones were not like this. So I'm curious because the My Dream palette has a different kind of plastic. I'm curious if this one's going to be a little bit harder to do, but let's go ahead and get this last pan out of there. And then I'll show you, we're going to clean up the back of the pans. We're going to put the stickers on and the labels so that we know what shades these are. All right, the foil started to ripple. I'm down at the end, so I don't want to burn myself. But I'm also right-handed, so I got to come at it this way. So we're going to bring down that ledge. I'm going to get underneath that pan. And I don't know, too, if because the foil went all the way around and then the glue was on top of the foil, that once I'm heating the foil's wanting to come right up. But there we have it. We have an empty mini love palette here, so you guys can see there's no going back. Once these are out, these are out. So I'm going to go ahead and these are starting to cool off. So what I like to do is have down a bit of tissue to kind of cradle that. But I think that this one was different because it did have the foil, because we can see the foil and the glue is what's stuck to the back of this. So I wonder if a little bit of heat, and then we use our kind of scraping tools But I want to get all of this foil and glue off these pans. Rubbing alcohol sometimes helps to break down some of that glue. Just wipe this down and see where we're at. I think the next step that I would take is just a cotton round and in, who remembers Jamberry? But I kept all of these because I just refill them with like nail polish remover and acetone. And so I'm just going to take a little bit of that and see about cleaning up the back of this pan because there's still a little bit of glue and I want all of that gone. All right, and that is pan number 1 that is clean and ready for the sticker. So I will go ahead and I'll show you guys how I put on the sticker, and then we will move on to the My Dream because the rest of it is just going to be me putting these stickers on, which you guys don't need to see me do that 10 times. But this is going to be Mini Love number 1, so we'll go ahead and cut this out. I do want this to be smaller, so we're going to cut pieces off the top and the bottom. And this is again where our, actually I'm going to put on the name sticker first because then I'll know how much room I have. So this is our sticker from the back, and really these are named weirdly. So they're named You Are My True Love, so I don't really think it matters what we're doing here, but let's see here. That first one is called You, and it is, those are not going to work. Let's see if these work better. And my goal is to just cut out the little square that has the name and the number on it. These are little sewing scissors that I keep hung on my sewing machine so that I can cut threads. But usually sewing scissors are nice and sharp. So I have my little label, if you guys can see it, and we're just going to stick that. Actually, this is where I really liked using the forceps because I could place it really nice and easy. Onto the back of the pan, and then we take our label, forceps, and like that. We have the number 1 depotted, and these are already magnetic, so really I can go ahead and just stick these right into here. And like I said, I will take the glue off the rest of them and name all the rest of them off camera. So I'm just going to stick those in there for right now. So that is Mini Love depotted. So let's move on to this one, because again, I don't know how this one's going to do with it being that different type of material. But we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the sticker off the back. Oh, I did drill into the back of this one too. Just a little bit of heat should do it. And we'll just pull up that corner until we can get it with some tweezers. And it comes up really nice and easy. So that is the sticker for the My Dream. I'm just going to stick it to my fridge over here. But we're going to do these much like we did the other ones. I'm going to start with the metallic all the way over here just because, like I said, they have a less likely chance of breaking. With this being the smooth touch plastic, I wonder if this is actually going to melt really nicely because it has that matte texture. To me, for some reason, the soft touch means soft plastic, but we shall see. But I'm going to go ahead and melt this first shade over here. I don't have any of the foil to kind of give me a guesstimate of when it's warmed up. So we are just trying. So kind of pushing at that. That is not warm. Now it's getting warm. I was able to push it with my, I was able to push it up here with my tool, but so my husband just got home and the dogs are barking. I'm going to maybe like silence the sound because the dogs are going to be barking, but I'm going to keep working on this, getting it melted and getting a foothold underneath this pan. So this shade did change color when it got warm. It's still hot, so I'm hoping that the pigment in this just changed color when it got hot, but we will have to heat up this whole thing to get this shade out. We already have a gap down here, so I'm going to actually try to heating this part and getting this out, but this did come out really, really smoothly. This plastic actually is a little bit harder because it is just opaque. I think because it is a more opaque plastic, it's slightly harder. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this shade and try to get this matte shade out because the matte shades are the most difficult. I don't want to bend the pan because I want the pan to, so we are not warm enough yet. All right, got that one to pop out. I think with this one, the glue doesn't stick as well to this matte plastic, so that is interesting. But this one over here, all of them have a little bit of a gap at the bottom. It's not warm enough, let's wait. Whew, those pans are hot. Yeah, the glue did not have really good purchase on this matte plastic. So I would say probably this one here would be very easy to depot as well, as long as you had heat, because the glue does not want to stick to this particular type of plastic. So this, I actually probably could save this palette and reuse it if I wanted to, because it did not get that damaged. And I even wonder if I put a little heat on this, if this plastic will reform to how it wants to be. All right, so that is a mini palette that I actually can keep and possibly figure out a way to make it magnetized. So I'm going to hang on to this one. So with the matte ones, sometimes I've noticed that when you use the heat and it dries some of the like binder out of here, I'm gonna put, let's see, let me get my towel ready, because this is the way that I have enjoyed kind of doing repressings, is onto a towel, especially when I don't have things falling everywhere. But I'm gonna do a couple drops of rubbing alcohol just to put a little bit of liquid back in, because you can see that the powder does want to split. I don't know if we can pick that up, but the powder does want to split a little bit when it dries out like that. So a couple drops of rubbing alcohol, turn the shade upside down, and then press it into the towel, and that will kind of repress the shade, add a little bit of quote-unquote moisture into there to get the pigments to kind of rebond to each other. But we can see that the powder is just soaking up that alcohol into all the little cracks that the heat caused, because it's bubbling. If you guys can see that on the camera, it's bubbling and kind of getting all that rubbing alcohol down into there. So once the powder has absorbed all of it, turn it upside down, press. This one's almost done. There we go. Turn this upside down, press. Let me do this one more time because some of it didn't absorb. But it's basically refilling all of the cracks in the powder that were caused by the heat with the rubbing alcohol, which softens the powder enough to kind of rebind everything under some pressure. So now that we have that, put my heat gun back off to the side, and I don't want to get these out of order, but we flip onto the other side, a little bit of rubbing alcohol on the back, and we're going to get that glue off. Wipe down with a cotton pad, and we have a nice shiny pan. So we're going to get our sticker back, and this is called Devotion. So we're going to cut out that little square. Get all the sticker remnants off of my fingers. Those aren't helpful as I knock the camera. And we have our sticker. We'll go ahead and place that. And then we have these are the labels for the Love palette. And I'm using the forceps just because I don't want the oils from my fingers getting all over and possibly making the labels not stick. So we have that one labeled, and so I would just label the rest of them. I do need to get a different palette or a bigger palette because this one is full. This is just a 12 pan palette from Give Me Glow. So I'm trying to figure out what kind of palette and organization I want to do for all of my Natasha Denona mini palettes. But I will say, total transparency, these ones were easier than these ones here. And I don't know if it's just because I ended up getting down pat what I needed to do, and so I wasn't going in and trying to pop the shade out prematurely. I knew how soft the plastic needed to be, but that plastic needs to be pretty soft. And so Once again, this is not for the faint of heart. This is not for the inexperienced depotter. I would not recommend you do this unless you have every single one of these tools at your disposal. But I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to clean up the rest of my pans. I'm going to put all my labels on, and then I'm pretty sure I'm going to film an intro and an outro to this video. The look that I'm wearing today will also be the look for my buys and buys because I'm a little bit short on filming time this week. So you'll see the same look in two videos, but you guys really wanted to see how I depot these, and I have not seen another video on YouTube how to properly depot these. So I wanted to put something out there, but with all of my disclaimers about this not being something that can be easily done. So I'm going to go ahead and clean all this up, label all my shadows, and I'll see you guys in the outro. All right, I hope that you guys enjoyed that depotting of these mini Natasha Denona palettes, and I will reiterate one more time for the person in the back that might not have heard it. Do not attempt to depot these without being an experienced depotter or represser. These are extremely difficult. Let me show you the close-up. This is the mini Love that I depotted. Let me show you a close-up of this palette. And look at how chewed up and how ruined this gets. This is not for the faint of heart. Now, I think because this is either newer or a different sort of plastic that is this soft touch matte, this palette did survive really well, and so I'm going to be trying to maybe put some magnetic tape in the bottom of this to see if I can make this into a magnetic palette and keep this one around. But every other palette that I have depotted has turned out looking like this, and it is ruined. And I've had to repress a lot of those shadows. So do not attempt this unless you have all of the tools that I used or something similar and you have a lot of experience with depotting. Otherwise, you will ruin your shadows, you will break your shadows, and if you don't know how to properly repress them, you have wasted your shadows, you've wasted your money, and like this mini Love, you can't get it anymore. So then you have lost a palette that you probably loved, but now you can't replace it. So approach depotting these with so much caution. I want to make sure you guys understand that I'm not just being flippant about calling this difficult. This is difficult. So now that I sound like a broken record with kind of saying that, I just don't want somebody coming into my comment section and being like, I tried this and it ruined my shadows. It ruined the palette. Yes, I know. 99% chance this will ruin your shadows unless you know what you're doing and you know how to fix it. So take that as it is. Take this as an educational kind of tutorial, but also telemarketer calling me, but also take this as a way of maybe saying that this is not what you need to do with your palettes. Just saying that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope that you found it educational. I hope that, like I said, I was not able to find any other video on YouTube about how to depot these. So I hope that this even kind of tells you that maybe this kind of depotting is not for you. If you are an experienced depotter and you try this, let me know how it goes, but again, be so careful. I don't want any of you guys to waste your money and waste your shadows and possibly ruin a palette that you love that is not around anymore. I don't want that for you. So please take this with a big side of caution. So I appreciate each and every one of you for watching my videos and engaging with me on Instagram and encouraging me to film this video. I hope that it is helpful to you guys that maybe want to try this, but of course I'm going to encourage you guys to do all the things. Hit a thumbs up on this video. Let me know that you enjoy my kind of informational, educational depotting and panning strategies. So let me know that you guys are enjoying this type of content. Leave me that comment down below. Let me know how you guys are doing, or if there's anything that you guys are thinking about depotting for yourself in the future. Make sure to subscribe and stick around for more project panning, conscious consumerism, eyeshadows, puppy dogs, all sorts of stuff like that. I would love to have you as part of my wonderful, supportive, insightful, and beautiful community. So I thank each and every one of you for being here. I appreciate you guys so, so much, and I will catch you in my next one.